at what is happening with Diddy right now?
Very surprised. I'm ultimately surprised. Like, I don't be expecting none of this type of things to be happening, you know.
So, I know you down with it. So that's what's really going on. And I just want to tell you I love you, man, and to be continued.
Hey, I love you too. Just tell me when to go.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing,
you would tell it.
No, somebody come to tell me.
Okay.
I gather that. I value that. I'll pay for that. Come, tell me. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it.
Puffy's sons and my sons have been best friends since they were 6, 7. I didn't make it happen, and Puffy didn't make it happen. One night I was at my house, and Puffy's son was over about like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, "Cuz, what time you going home?" And he like, "I'm spending the night." I'm like, "Did you tell your dad?" He like, "Nah, my mom dropped me off." So Kim, rest in peace, was connecting my kids with Puff kids, and they formed a friendship and a bond. When Justin went to UCLA, my son went to UCLA. When Christian was rapping, my son was rapping. When he was modeling, they was flying over the world together. So they forged a friendship and a brotherhood that me and Puff always.
Lately, renewed controversy around old hip-hop rivalries has resurfaced, with some fans and commentators revisiting claims that Tekashi 6ix9ine once made about Snoop Dogg allegedly playing both sides. According to these narratives, long-circulating rumors about Snoop's ties to Diddy are being re-examined, with critics suggesting that his behind-the-scenes relationships were far more complicated than they appeared. In the most extreme versions of these claims, conspiracy-leaning discussions even speculate about indirect involvement in events surrounding the deaths of Tupac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G., though none of this has ever been proven. Those who push this narrative argue that Snoop was always moving carefully between camps, maintaining alliances wherever it benefited him. Some point to the fact that figures like Katt Williams eventually distanced themselves from him, despite once being close, as evidence that industry insiders may have seen something the public didn't. Other allegations go further, claiming that Snoop shared sensitive West Coast business details with Diddy and participated in questionable industry gatherings. Again, claims that remain unverified and largely sourced from rumor. To understand why these accusations persist, people often look back to the infamous East Coast-West Coast rivalry of the 1990s. Despite Snoop and Tupac both being major artists on Death Row Records and collaborating on tracks like Two of America's Most Wanted, tensions reportedly grew before Tupac's death. Tupac himself expressed distrust, publicly questioning Snoop's loyalty and suggesting he was too friendly with Diddy and Biggie. At a time when most artists clearly chose sides, Snoop's public statements about being cool with everybody stood out. To critics, that neutrality looked less like peacekeeping and more like strategic double-dealing, fueling suspicions that have never fully gone away.
Just that I listen to his music, I love his work. There's no beef, it's nothing personal. I don't hate him and I don't disrespect him and I love what he do, and it's just me, I'm just so smooth.
According to accounts that have circulated for years, just days before Tupac's death, tensions between him and Snoop allegedly boiled over during a heated confrontation about Snoop's public East Coast shoutouts. Suge Knight later spoke about this period in an interview with The Art of Dialogue, claiming that the relationship between the two artists had deteriorated badly by that point. Suge alleged that the disagreement escalated so far that Tupac was ready to physically confront Snoop, highlighting how deep the mistrust had become. In that same retelling, Suge suggested that Snoop became genuinely fearful for his own safety. He claimed that Snoop refused to fly back to New York City with Tupac, allegedly believing that being on the same plane could put his life at risk. Whether exaggerated or not, these stories are often cited as evidence of how fractured things were inside Death Row Records in Pac's final days. They paint a picture of paranoia, broken alliances, and internal conflict, an atmosphere that many believe played a major role in the chaos surrounding that era of hip-hop history.
Snoop made the comments he made on Hot 97, right, about how he didn't have beef with Big and Puff and they was his friends. He always said that when he got back on the plane with you and Pac, he had a knife and a fork underneath his blanket, just in case y'all did something to him. From your point of view, can you break that situation down?
His thing was, Pac crazes him up. He ain't finna be in no limo.
For years, one of the most widely believed theories was that Suge Knight orchestrated Biggie's death as retaliation for the belief that Diddy had placed a hit on Tupac. That narrative dominated hip-hop conversations for a long time. However, In more recent years, especially as new allegations and stories about Diddy have resurfaced, some people have shifted their suspicions, now claiming that Diddy himself was responsible for what happened to both Tupac and Biggie. These claims remain unproven, but they've gained renewed attention in the court of public opinion. That renewed scrutiny intensified after 50 Cent released a documentary centered on Diddy, which reignited old conversations and testimonies from people who were around Bad Boy Records in the 1990s. Figures such as Kirk Burroughs and former Bad Boy president Mark Pitts have spoken publicly about tensions behind the scenes, alleging that Diddy felt threatened by Biggie's growing closeness with Tupac and Suge Knight. According to these accounts, Biggie was allegedly pressured into recording Who Shot Ya?, a track widely interpreted as a diss toward Tupac. Whether intentional or not, it poured gasoline on an already raging East Coast-West Coast fire. People close to Biggie have also claimed that, near the end of his life, he was increasingly unhappy with his situation at Bad Boy. Allegedly, he told friends he planned to leave the label after his second album, feeling that Diddy was mishandling his career and taking an unfair cut of his earnings. Around that same period, rumors circulated that Biggie had begun quiet conversations with other labels about making a move, plans that, tragically, were never given the chance to play out.
Thing at the time, Biggie was negotiating his contract. We acquiesced and gave him everything he wanted, and then he died. Sean wanted me to change the agreement to more favorable terms for Bad Boy, and his family and mother would not know. And since he had signed the agreement, he wanted those changes to come from out of the center of the agreement and have those pages replaced with the other terms. And I said, that's not right. I'm not doing it.
What really stands out to critics is that even after the deaths of Tupac and Biggie, events that many people allege were tied to Diddy, Snoop appeared to openly align himself with Diddy rather than distance himself. To those watching from the outside, it didn't look like neutrality anymore. It looked like Snoop had made a clear choice. He wasn't just maintaining industry relationships, he was publicly associating with Diddy and defending him, which only deepened suspicions among fans who already questioned his loyalty. From that point on, people say Snoop stopped straddling the fence altogether. He officially left Death Row Records and began appearing frequently alongside Diddy at events, interviews, and industry gatherings. In the eyes of many, that move symbolized a full shift in allegiance. Whether driven by survival, business strategy, or personal belief, the optics were unmistakable to critics. Snoop had walked away from the West Coast camp he helped define and embraced a new alliance, one that fueled decades of debate about where he truly stood during hip-hop's most volatile era.
Ain't no East Coast, West Coast beef.
I swear. We ain't come here to talk about nothing behind us. We come to talk about what's ahead of us.
Yeah.
We here to make a difference, you know what I'm saying? So we want y'all to stay in school and keep y'all heads in y'all books.
No doubt. Knowledge is power, y'all.
But you know, we're the future, so it's on us to make a change.
That's great. Look, I'd like to thank Snoop and Puff for stopping by and dropping this knowledge on.
Hey, maybe Tekashi was onto something.
You think Snoop Dogg is a rat?
What you mean by that?
Look at the camera. Because Snoop Dogg got an order protection on Suge Knight.
What you mean he got an order protection?
He got an order protection on Suge Knight in the 90s.
Well, Snoop would never come. You know, we beat him right for him, but then he was on probation, then he got caught with guns. And each time it's nothing. They're not going to violate him. That's because he's an informant. He's a rat, a snitch.
You guys know about Snoop's altercation with Tupac right before his death?
They went to Vegas, and I didn't want to go to Vegas because the vibe wasn't right. So I went to Warren G's house.
There's no dream of making an album with Biggie and Puffy or none of them. We're not sweating it like that. This is our family. We peacefully coexist. This is our family. We peacefully coexist.
Tupac said there's no dream of making music with Bad Boy Records. Snoop Dogg agrees. But the very next day, Snoop goes on a radio show and says this.
So I ain't got no issues with Puffy and Biggie. I want to do a song with the nigga.
What? Did you say
Because that's how I felt.
Which really makes you question the relationship between these two. Because look at this video call right after he gets the ownership of Death Row Records.
Congratulations, King. And great move, great move, great move. You taught me how to play chess, not checkers. Oh man, one of my greatest students. Every time we sit down with each other, we chop it up, and then we go our separate ways. I'm watching. I'm trying to make you proud. Yeah, man, I'm.
As mentioned earlier, Snoop and Katt Williams were once genuinely close, but their relationship has noticeably cooled over the past few years, and many people believe that shift is closely tied to Snoop's continued association with Diddy. Over the same period, Katt Williams has been increasingly outspoken about Diddy, and none of his comments have been flattering. Anyone following pop culture lately knows Katt has repeatedly criticized him, questioning his power, influence, and behavior within the industry. The most explosive moment came during Katt's interview on Club Shay Shay, where he publicly claimed that Diddy offered him $50 million on 3 separate occasions in an attempt to get him involved in so-called freak-offs. Katt alleged that Diddy wanted him to compromise his morals and become part of a lifestyle he refused to engage in. He emphasized that despite the money and pressure, he never gave in. Katt also claimed that before those alleged encounters, Harvey Weinstein had made inappropriate advances toward him as well, offers he says he rejected outright. Taken together, these statements help explain why Katt has drawn a hard line against Diddy, and why anyone closely aligned with him, including former friends, may have ended up on the outside of Katt Williams' circle.
All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. It's any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light. I want to know, why would he get blackballed?
Yeah,
because in 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing,
you would tell it.
No, somebody come to tell me.
Okay.
I gather that. I value that. I'll pay for that. Come, tell me. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. They all know it. Why? Because you don't make me the villain. Not the guy that raises black children and ain't never done a hard in his life and don't have no stories of doing nobody dirty. They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my people in front of all my people at my agency. What am I supposed to do? He did all of that. I'm thinking I'm the only black person on the script. I get there, there's 3 other black guys on there. Woo! Huh.
You wonder what they did.
I told him no. What y'all do? And this is why when I walk.
Shifting gears, another rumor that's been circulating online involves claims about Snoop allegedly being afraid of Katt Williams, with some people pointing to comments made by Snoop's wife as fuel for that narrative. According to speculation, critics believe that fear stems from the idea that Katt is aware of things Snoop supposedly did during his time closely connected to Diddy. None of this has been proven, but it's become a popular talking point in gossip-heavy corners of the internet. Those rumors escalated even further when unverified stories began spreading online involving an incident at a party, where some claim Snoop may have been placed in a vulnerable situation involving Diddy. In these accounts, Snoop's wife is portrayed as intervening and removing him from the environment before anything could happen. It's important to stress that these stories are based entirely on hearsay, anonymous claims, and online chatter, with no official confirmation or evidence. Still, the persistence of these rumors has added yet another layer to the ongoing speculation surrounding Snoop's past relationships and why certain industry ties and former friendships may have unraveled over time.
Walked in there and called his name one time, Calvin. In front of Naomi Campbell.
Yes, sir.
In front of Diddy.
At this point, many people feel like the situation between Snoop and Diddy runs much deeper than what's publicly known. And if history is any indication, Katt Williams isn't the type to stay quiet about things he believes need to be exposed. As always, the internet had plenty to say. One commenter wrote something along the lines of, "Snoop really teamed up with Puff knowing the history, that alone says a lot." Another person added, "Seeing Snoop cool with someone Tupac openly distrusted speaks volumes." These reactions reflect how divided public opinion still is whenever Snoop's past alliances come up. Now the conversation has shifted again, with people debating claims about Snoop's wife allegedly hinting that he's afraid of Katt Williams. Some fans believe it supports the idea that Katt distanced himself specifically because of Snoop's relationship with Diddy, while others think the whole thing is being exaggerated by social media and gossip culture. So now I want to hear from you. What's your take on all this? Do you think there's truth behind the idea that Katt cut ties because of Diddy? Or do you think this is just another case of old industry drama being reshaped online? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click here to check out the next video, because this situation just keeps getting messier.